a tool for integrating our 5 daily actions into your everyday life, creating the habits of a happier, longer life. That's what we talk about all the time. And those 5 daily actions are
Move,
learn,
share,
give,
and let go.
Welcome to Zestful Aging, where I talk with fascinating, talented, and inspiring guests who reflect on the adventures and challenges of aging and who are living their lives with vibrance and purpose. I'm your host, Nicole Christina, psychotherapist, writer, and fellow Zestful Ager. And if you like this podcast, you'll love my companion courses, Zestful Aging, Simple and Sustainable Habits for Health and Longevity, and The Wisdom of Mindful Eating. Now, for 1 month only, I'm putting both of my online courses on a radical sale. Both The Wisdom of Mindful Eating and Zestful Aging will be $19.99 each. Both of these courses have received rave reviews. They're fun, straightforward, and have the ability to change your life in the direction of more peace and less stress about eating and around aging. No extreme diets or punishing exercise. More about creating habits that feel good and are sustainable, which is health promoting and leads to a longer, happier life. This offer will expire January 31st. Find out more at NicoleChristina.com. Well, I have my Jack Russell Terrier Sparky right beside me and my coffee in my hand. So let's begin. We have a great show for you today. We have Molly Watts and Angela McDade, who are co-creators of 5 for Life and the 5 for Life Planner. 5 for Life is a philosophy and a purposeful system based on 5 daily actions that are scientifically proven to increase longevity and improve our overall quality of life. Welcome, Molly and Angela.
Well, thank you.
Hi
Thanks,
there.
Nicole.
Yeah.
We've talked about this planner, and I don't want to focus too much on it, but I really have to say I think it is a brilliant idea. Can we just start off describing a little bit the 5 for Life planner?
Yeah, we can. Really, it's a tool for integrating our 5 daily actions into your everyday life, and as such, creating the habits of a happier, longer life. That's what we talk about all the time. And those 5 daily actions are
Move,
learn,
share,
give,
and let go.
So there are 5, and how did you come upon these 5 daily actions?
Well, so this is going to go into the backstory, I guess, maybe of 5 for Life. Do you want to go there?
Yes,
Do you want to hear all about it? Okay.
Let's go there.
So, this is Molly speaking, and I was at a Tony Robbins live event in April of last year. And at that event, he's a motivational speaker for people that don't know Tony Robbins. I feel like everyone kind of knows his name anyway. I've followed him or been aware of him at least, for a long time. And during that one-day event, he challenged us to go kind of inside and focus on an area that was very painful for us, like a deep pain. And then also asked us to go and focus on something that was a very powerful joy in our lives. And for me, those two things are very intertwined. And when I really started to process those emotions, I realized that the pain, which has always been kind of about my mom and not only my relationship with her, but watching her as she aged and kind of the life that she led, which was not great and was full of lots of decline as she, from 50 on, she just sort of went on a slow and steady decline. Even though she lived to 80, it wasn't a great experience. And in contrast, one of my greatest joys has always been the relationship I have with my dad, and really all that he teaches me and continues to teach me, and just kind of evaluating what makes that so special. Really, it came down to how he, in contrast, has lived his life and has continued to age. So that was kind of the genesis, and all of that led to me really wanting to create something and help not only myself, but other people to age with optimism and to really have a plan as they were going forward to, create an optimistic outlook and to be able to take on the challenges of aging with a positive mindset.
So was that contrast that between your mom and your dad, and it sounds like you're describing health span, that your mom lived to 80, but you're describing it as not a life that was vibrant necessarily, or I'm just throwing these words out.
No, you're right.
It didn't seem like maybe not as much meaning or vigor as you're hoping for yourself, and perhaps you've seen with your dad. Is that right?
100%. Yes. My mom, became just more discouraged, more depressed, more isolated, more, less vibrant for sure. And my dad, despite having had 4 major heart procedures, prostate cancer, taking care of my mother, has continued to live a life full of meaning and purpose and optimism.
Wow, what an example for you to see really clearly.
Yeah.
Right in your own family. And so what has been your conclusion about why they've aged so differently?
Yeah, and that's really where, again, once I started to kind of understand that feeling in me was really something I could act on, I started to try to figure out just that. What has made it so different? And is it something that is, you can create in your own life, right? Can I copy, I want to achieve aging like my dad, right? And so, I really started to look at his life, and where he had a massive heart attack when he was 50 years old. And that was definitely a change for him, a life-changing event for him. But you can't have that event and then, you still have to create habits and take actions. And when I really started to look at his life, started to do a lot of research and a lot of reading and a lot of, just a lot of reading and research on when people do age successfully, what that looks like, what they've done, what do they attribute it to. There's just, it kind of went hand in hand. And so
it made sense to you as you were reading. It fit.
Yeah, it fit. And there was really, like I said, I kind of boiled it down and looked for things that I thought were both relevant in terms of what my dad has done and then what science has proven. And I came up with these 5 daily actions. I wanted something that was going to be, I'm sure that there are probably 100 different actions if you really wanted, you could keep on going. But these 5 were all backed by science and were also very evident in my father's life.
So you have both the sort of the academic / book experience of reading it and maybe taking notes and learning, but also the live experience of, my dad does that and my dad does this. And wow, it seems to have made a tremendous impact.
Yes. And I think that really it was first, like I said, because it came kind of guided from really looking at my dad's life first and what's always been really important to him. And then looking for the science that backed it up, and seeing those two connect was really great.
So do you want to talk about the 5 daily actions?
Yeah. And I'm going to when I first got this great idea in my own mind, at least. It was a great idea for 5 for Life. I really, it became very exciting. I know you, and I'm sure you, Nicole, can relate when you kind of, with Zestful Aging, you get this idea and it's like, this is really good and I want to share it with people. I tried to figure out how I was going to do that best. I quickly realized that I needed help. And so she says that I think she thinks I tricked her into the whole, thing, which is completely.
You lured her into being a podcast
exactly.
host?
No, not even a podcast. That came way down. That came way down the line. Came way down the line. Just getting her to, I needed help with creating a planner, which I thought was what I wanted to do. And so I hoodwinked my sidekick, Angela, into coming on board. And one of the things that I think made us a natural fit was that one of the first things that we ever did together was train for a half marathon.
Yeah.
So that was daily action number 1, Move. That was long before we ever started this project, but she can talk a little bit about how Move became, why Move is daily action number 1.
Yeah, so a lot of people, most of the things that, most of the 5 daily actions are not only based on how Molly saw her dad aging, but when you start to speak to people, it's what they fear most when they get older. So one of the things, of course, is immobility. And people fear that they can't get themselves around. And, the consequence of that is, tenfold, because if you can't get yourself around, you can't go and meet other people, you can't get out and about, you can't do your shopping, like all of the simple things that are part of your life. If you can't get around, then it makes a huge impact. So number 1,
yeah, exactly. And I think about the loneliness problem, which we know is epidemic. Exactly.
So the first one is move, and our goal is to have you move in some way every day, and it doesn't have to be. It doesn't
have to be a half marathon. For gosh sakes, no.
We did do the half marathon, but it's simple things like getting out, going for a walk, and it doesn't have to be crazy. Huge goals that you achieve. It has to be something small, and just keeping active. It's an active life rather than a sedentary one. And there's lots of different ways you can do yoga, you can run, you can walk, you can do whatever it is you
chair
like.
Aerobics if you like.
Yeah, just do something. So that's what one of the parts of move is for your mobility. But what we also know about moving is that if you exercise, it also has a great effect on your brain. Because if it's good for your heart, it's also good for your brain. And our last podcast, we just discussed Alzheimer's, and moving and physical exercise has a very positive effect on Alzheimer's or not developing Alzheimer's. So that was one of the key things that we learned that we didn't initially know when we first started out, that had such an impact on the development of Alzheimer's. And it's because as you exercise and the blood pumps through your brain, it nourishes your brain with all the hormones and all the good stuff that your blood carries, and so it's good for your brain as well as your heart. So move is not only good for mobility, but also good for your brain and your cognitive ability as well.
Now, tell me a little bit about, these, I love them in that they're very straightforward. You're saying it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be in the Senior Olympics. No. You can be walking and all that. Now, my experience talking to clients is that they know some of this. And they know, in fact, I had a client this morning who said, I really need to exercise. She's diabetic. We all know that that's helpful. She said, well, she has a bike and she bought it 2 years ago. It's super cute, but she just doesn't have the motivation. Can you talk a little bit about how you get yourself out to do these vitally important things when your head says, I know this is so good for me. I'm not asking myself to run a marathon, but boy, that couch looks really cozy. I've got my coffee and I could just sort of sit on there. My dog's going to jump up and it's going to just be like a little lovely warm nap.
Yeah. Or if you're in Oregon, it's raining and therefore you have a really good reason not to go outside.
Can you talk to our listeners about how do we get ourselves to get outside when it's easier to stay inside?
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's any magic answer there. Unfortunately, what we have found is that it is about developing the habit. And that's why we wanted to do a planner that was really on a daily basis, encouraged you, and you write it down in the planner, what you do to move, so that you are, and that is that's a positive loop, right? When you write something down and you affirm it and you've done it, it starts to create you wanting to do it again, and following this tracker will help you create the habit. It's really all about action. You can't, and you have to take the action. And even when it's hard, you do it. And then, after a while, you stop having to convince yourself all the time because you've taken the action and you've developed the habit. And that's kind of where we come from, is no, it's not easy. People say get up and do it first thing in the morning. Other people say, just do it, period. I don't think we have the magic, the answer on how to motivate yourself other than to find a way that works for you and keep on doing it.
Yeah, I think that the idea is that figure out what works for you, when it works for you, and what you enjoy doing. To say to somebody, oh, you should take up whatever it is. If they start it and they hate it, then they're never going to keep doing it.
Sustainable.
Yeah, that has to be something that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I really resonate with that. I know that there's a lot of people who have been out there that have started with good intentions, usually around, January 2nd or 3rd,
right.
Giving a lot of money to the gym. And, we have all good intentions, but it's hard to, and I appreciate you being honest and saying, this requires, sometimes it's a little hard. Sometimes it takes discipline. I think that that's really fair to say. It's not all going to be, it's raining and it's going to be great. I'm going to feel damp and a little chilled before I warm up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's one of the key things that we talk about with our, with Five for Life, is that you want to live a happier, longer life. It requires action. It's not just guaranteed, right? You may, just like you mentioned, you may have a long lifespan regardless. My mother lived until she was 80. But it's much more important to be happy about it once you get there.
There's an investment, I think
you're
correct.
saying, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. So that was daily action number 1. We better move it a little bit. We're not gonna get through all 5. But So daily action number 2 is learn, and this really came 100% first and foremost from my dad, who has been an educator my entire life. He was a superintendent of schools my entire educational career, and he has never stopped learning. And we know now that there is a ton of science that backs up having an active mind and being, continuously using it. And that, and much like Angela alluded to, we actually talked about that too in our Alzheimer's our podcast on Alzheimer's, just that you can actually rewire your brain to, and that's incredible.
Yeah. To if there's something goes wrong, then you can do something to reroute those synapses. That make your brain work, and make you do the things that you want to enjoy. And if you can actively work your brain, then it can overcome some of those issues that come with Alzheimer's. And it means that you don't necessarily show the symptoms of Alzheimer's, but also just you're cognitively more alert.
Yeah, and I guess that's really what, again, and back to what Angela mentioned earlier with the fears, one of the things that we hear most that people fear about getting older is losing their memory, right? Losing their mind, not being able to, that's senior moments, cognitive decline. It's all very important, and we're able to impact it by using our brains.
That's good news. Yeah, that's the use it or lose it kind
Exactly.
of idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then daily action number 3 is
Share,
which is,
we're doing that right now.
Yeah. So for us, share is sharing yourself, your time, your talents, your abilities, like all of those things. So it's basically any social connections you have, whether it be with your family, with work, people that your co-workers, with
volunteering.
Yeah, just any occasion where you share your time and anything you have to offer is hugely impactful. And back to, as you age, it is so important to maintain those social connections, because loneliness is one of the other things that people fear as they get older, and it has a huge, and again, all of them have huge impacts as you age, and loneliness is one that is a big fear for people.
The thing about share, and I think you mentioned it too, is that people don't realize that loneliness and isolation are actually really bad for your health. There's science that shows that people that are more lonely and isolated have a shorter lifespan. So it affects your morbidity. So it's important, not only because people fear it, but because it's something that is not good for you. And, you can take, we just believe that you can encourage that habit, whether you're walking next door and talking to a neighbor, whether you're having a small conversation with, the
guy at the grocery store.
Right.
Yeah.
All of that, all of it is
connecting.
Yes, right. And I know that's something that's important to you as well. So that's daily action number 3, share. Okay. Daily action number 4 is give. And that's all about being, it's very popular, or I guess it's been pretty popular in the last, 10, 15 years, is gratitude and expressing gratitude and thankfulness. But, I'm not sure that people really understand that this is a lot more than just feeling good. It is. It certainly does help you feel good, but there is science that backs up the fact that people that, keep gratitude journals, that express gratitude, that live in that, being very mindful of their thankfulness, live longer. Not only do they live longer, but they have an increased and an improved quality of life.
Yeah, and just that increases your optimism in life, which who wouldn't want to do that?
Right. So that's really what daily action number 4 is all about. It's an action. We take it every day. We physically write down in the planner things that we are grateful for. And if it's even just a small thing, it's sunny outside today in Oregon, and that is something to be very, very grateful for.
Especially in September.
Late September.
When October is looming.
I hear you loud and clear from upstate New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little more snow out your way. I'm sure that gets fearful. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, but it's that, and I really appreciate that point that you're making, and it's really, I think, a lifestyle, not even sort of I do that as well. I'm grateful for this, grateful for that. But I interviewed a woman who does the Gratitude Network, and she made this quote that is so beautiful. She said, "I wake up with thank you on my lips."
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So that's daily action number 4. And daily action number 5 is let go. And that is 100% focused on stress relief and,
letting go of regrets,
anger,
things
fear.
that tie you down.
Right. Anything that's holding you back from making the rest of your life the best of your life. And it's, again, not only is letting go of the things that are holding us back important for our mindset, but it's been shown to have a physical effect on you when you carry around stress and anger and anything, all those negative sorts of emotions. It increases your blood pressure, which again can affect your lifespan, and it can increase cortisol levels, which can lead to bad eating and bad diet, etc. So there's more to it, and I guess that's always, I come back to it all the time. This is not about, this 5 for Life is definitely going to help you feel better, feel happier, and create a better mindset. But it's actually got science that,
it's shown that it is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so, and all of the things
functional
individually are good for you, but when you wrap them up, they're all so interlinked that when you wrap them all up and you continue to practice these things daily and make them into habits, then the whole thing just makes for a much better forward-looking life.
Could you give our listeners some help with letting go? Because I think we all know instinctually, like carrying around this resentment or jealousy or all that kind of stuff, it doesn't feel good. You can feel it in your body. It's not pleasant. But I think some of us are stuck with, boy, I want to let it go. I want to even forgive, let's say, for example. Are there little ways that you can help us think about how to get there?
Yeah, actually, we have a little worksheet that we have in our resources, and we talk about a tool that helps you make steps towards letting go. And for some people, it could be just a little smooth pebble in your purse or your pocket. It could be one of those little soft stress relief balls, or it could be an index card or a Post-it note that just says "Let Go" written on it. And those, that little tool is just kind of a reminder. And so, when you start to feel yourself getting stressed out or angry, you can, rub that pebble or squeeze that ball or look at your let it go and really, take an active decision to write down something and say, I'm feeling stressed out about this. I'm going to really let it go. I'm going to breathe through it. And, that's just one little tip, but it's not always easy. Definitely.
And I think as well, looking at the bigger picture, it's one of our mantras that we go with is the 5x5 rule. And if it's not going to matter in 5 years, don't spend more than 5 minutes upset by it. So it's something, there's so many things that bother you and annoy you and you get all wound up about, and it can consume you. But if you can try and look at it and see, really, should you be spending all this time worrying about it and it affecting other things in your life? And if it's something that shouldn't be, you shouldn't be spending so much time on, then again, it's a little kick to say, you really should let this go. So, the little tools you have that can remind you that it's not good for you and there's no need for you to hang on to it. So then...
And when we get towards the age when we can see maybe we have more behind us than in front of us, maybe part of that is, like you're saying, Angela, I don't have as much time as I used to.
Yeah.
Do I want to spend this much time obsessing or feeling badly
Yeah.
or maybe
Yeah.
there's something about that, as you said, you take it out. Is it going to matter in 5 years? And boy, I've got this time is getting more and more precious.
For
Yeah.
sure.
And I think there's a lot of people who you will say, oh, I'm too old to let that bother me. Those simple things that, as you were, like we have, well, we still have teenagers. Yeah, we have 3 teenagers between us. And we have older kids, but as a teenager yourself, things that upset you and things that our kids get upset by, that we can go, oh, that's really not worth. And for them, they get so upset by it. But as you get older, you do see things a little differently. So you hope that as you go through your life, you can put a little bit more perspective on things, and hopefully it's not easy to let things go.
It's also, that's one of our 5 daily actions in the planner. We actually have a space for, on every day, kind of, we call it morning meditation and evening reflection. It's about writing down both your gratitude and the things that you need to let go of that you might be holding you back.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like you thought of everything, that this planner is so comprehensive.
Yeah, the planner really is a tool to put all of these things into action, and it keeps you on track. At the end of each week, you can look back and say, well, I didn't move as much as I could, or things that have been bothering you didn't let them go, and you held on to it too long. So each of the 5 things have, at the end of the week, you can reevaluate how your week is and then go, I have to do it better at this next week, and the more you do it, the more these habits are formed, and then it becomes like getting up in the morning and brushing your teeth. You don't have to think, oh, I will brush my teeth. It's just something
it's
that
like
comes.
training wheels.
Yeah, it's just, it becomes a natural thing for you to do these, and it is in fact just a habit that you live and you practice every day.
But yeah, we're very pleased with the planner. We're very happy and excited to share it with people, because we do think it's, going to be a great tool for people to create these habits. And we actually have, I don't know, we have a PDF version that's we're going to offer to your listenors.
Oh, good. They're
yeah.
going to love that. So
Yeah.
how do they get a hold of that?
So if you go to www.5forlife.co, not com, .co /planner. So that's 5forlife.co /planner. And there will be a place, you just give, you have to sign up with your email address, because that's, we want to be able to continue to talk with you. But and then you can get a free copy of the bones of the 5 for Life planner.
I love that. And do people do this together? Is this sort of an accountability group kind of thing as well?
Everybody that actually, not in the PDF version, but if you actually buy the planner, you are then welcomed into a Facebook group where we have that, where we do help with accountability, and we have a newsletter. We encourage everybody, provide motivational stuff every day, and every week I should say. And we of course have our own podcast as well, where we try to connect with people and give them tips on creating these habits.
And the podcast, and where can they find your podcast?
You can find our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Castbox, Google Play. It's called Live Happier Longer.
That's great. So I will also put that in the notes. Anything, Molly, Angela, anything else you'd like to say to our listeners before we wrap up?
We just appreciate so much, Nicole, you having us on.
Yeah.
I know that we share a very similar message in terms of a passion for creating, impacting aging, I think is a better way of putting it. I mean, we want to help people on an individual basis, on a habit building basis personally, so that we can impact society and how society sees aging, and how policies are made in the future. And, this is important. This is critically important as the baby boomers age and what's going to be happening to our society. And we just appreciate you talking with us, letting us share this message, and can't wait to have you on our podcast as well.
Oh, thanks. I love the idea of the planner, and I just want to quote you because I think it's just such a beautiful description that you call it a personal history in the making.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited to hear more about that and hopefully hear from people who are using it. I think it's a wonderful tool. And thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us on Zestful Aging. If you like the podcast, please share with some of your friends. I love to hear from my listeners. Send me an email at NicoleChristina.com. And please consider becoming a patron of the show. You will get access to exclusive bonuses, and you will be part of the Zestful Aging community. Keep us going strong. Go to patreon.com/zestfulaging. See you next time for another episode of Zestful Aging.